They said I'd never make it. Those words echoed in my mind the day my parents called after years of silence, pretending they had always loved me. My mother's voice was too sweet, trembling with something that wasn't worry. It was desperation. The last time I heard her voice, she had said, "We're not paying for your college, you'll never use that degree anyway." I was 18, standing in our kitchen, holding my acceptance letter like it was my ticket to freedom. My father leaned back, arms crossed, eyes cold. "Business school. Waste of money," he said. "You'll just end up back here." They weren't struggling. They had money for new cars, vacations, and luxuries. But when it came to me, they decided I wasn't worth investing in. That day, when I packed my things and walked out, I promised myself that I'd prove them wrong. And 12 years later, when they called, begging for help, I finally had the power to say no. The first few months were brutal. I had nowhere to go, so I slept in my old car parked behind the library. During the day, I worked double shifts at a diner, washing dishes, sweeping floors, anything to survive. At night, I'd sneak into college classes, sitting in the back pretending to be a student. I couldn't afford tuition, but I refused to give up. One evening, a customer left a wallet behind at the diner. I could have taken it, but something told me to do the right thing. I turned it in. And the next day, my life changed. The wallet belonged to a professor at the business school, the same one whose classes I'd been sneaking into. He called me in, recognizing me instantly. "You're the kid who's been auditing my lectures, aren't you?" he asked with a curious smile. I thought I'd be kicked out, but instead, he said, "You've got drive, Evan. Let me help you apply for a scholarship." That professor, Mr. Daniels, became my mentor. Thanks to him, I officially enrolled, balancing classes by day and work by night. I still slept in my car for a while, but I had something my parents couldn't take away: hope. 6 years later, I graduated with honors. By then, I'd started a small online consulting business to help local stores build an online presence. What began with 2 clients quickly grew to dozens. When the pandemic hit, most businesses collapsed, but I helped mine survive. And that's when everything took off. Within 3 years, my company was worth over $8 million. I had a team, an office with a skyline view, and the freedom I dreamed of. Then, one night, an email popped up on my screen. The subject line read, "We're proud of you." It was from my parents. I stared at the screen for 10 long minutes before opening it. "We saw your interview on TV," my mother wrote. "You've really made something of yourself. We always knew you could." I laughed out loud. They always knew. There was no apology, no acknowledgement of how they left me to survive alone. Just a casual attempt to claim credit. I didn't reply. But they didn't stop. Messages turned into calls. Until one day, I picked up. And that's when I heard my mother say the words I'll never forget. "Evan, we need your help." Her voice was softer now, nervous. My father was on the line too, silent at first until she explained. "We're being sued, Evan. We invested in something that went wrong. We could lose the house." I sat there, letting her words sink in. They hadn't called because they cared. They called because they needed money. "How much?" I asked coldly. My father's voice suddenly cut in. $5 million. You can afford it, right?" I froze. $5 million. From me, the son they'd thrown away like trash. For a second, I almost laughed. "When I needed your help, you told me I'd never use a degree," I said quietly. "Now, let's see how useful pride is when the bank takes your house." There was silence, then a click. They hung up. For the first time I felt no anger, no pain, just peace. Revenge doesn't always come from chaos. Sometimes it's just a quiet refusal. But I wanted them to feel what they'd done. So when I was invited to give a speech at my old university, the one they refused to pay for, I knew exactly what I would say. I invited them to the event. They showed up, pretending to belong among the crowd of proud parents and donors. When I walked on stage, the applause was deafening, but I wasn't thinking about the audience. I was thinking about them. I told my story, not their names, just the truth. I talked about rejection, sacrifice, and how being underestimated can fuel you more than love ever could. "Sometimes," I said, looking directly at them, "the best lessons come from the people who never believed in you." The room erupted in applause. My mother looked down, my father stared straight ahead. I didn't need to humiliate them. The truth had already done it for me. A few weeks later, I received a call from their lawyer. Their company had gone bankrupt, their accounts frozen, their house foreclosed. Everything they built, gone. I could have saved them. One transfer, one phone call, and they could have been fine. But I didn't. Instead, I wrote them a letter. "You taught me the value of independence." I wrote. "I hope it serves you now." I mailed it and never heard from them again. I learned later they sold what was left and moved out quietly. Strangely, I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. Years passed. One evening I attended a charity dinner for underprivileged students. As I mingled, a young man approached me. "Sir," he said shyly, "I'm here because of your scholarship program. You changed my life." His words hit me hard. That's when I realized this was the real revenge. Not money, not success, not their downfall. The real revenge was becoming someone who gave others what I never had, a chance. Looking back, I see it clearly now. People think revenge means getting even, but it's not. Real revenge is living well, building a life so full that their rejection becomes irrelevant. My parents taught me a cruel lesson, but it made me who I am. Never let someone else's disbelief shape your destiny. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will come knocking at the door of your success. And when they do, you'll finally have the power to say, "This table is for those who believed in me." Then, you turn, walk away, and never look back.